Our particular human rights concerns concern the fact that we have received consistent information pointing to violations of international humanitarian law and human rights law by all parties to the conflict. And these include artillery strikes on populated areas, the deliberate targeting of civilians, extrajudicial killings, and widespread looting. While we're not in a position to verify these reports on the ground, they do point to a failure by the parties to the conflict to protect civilians. And this is all the more concerning given that fighting is said to be continuing, particularly in some areas of north, central, and southern Tigray. Among the accounts, witnesses described artillery strikes on the town of Humera on the border with Eritrea between the 9th and the 11th of November. We interviewed several people from the town who alleged that shells launched from Eritrea had hit residential areas and the hospital. The Ethiopian army and regional Amhara forces and militia then reportedly took control of Humera, allegedly killing civilians and looting the hospital, banks, businesses, supermarkets, and private houses. Artillery strikes against the town of Adigrat in early November reportedly forced many families to flee to the mountains. They were then trapped by heavy fighting between the 20th and 24th of November, and many people were reported to have been killed. One of the most shocking incidents, as you may recall, reported to date was the alleged mass killing of several hundred people, mainly Amharans, in Maikadra on the 9th of November. The High Commissioner has previously stressed that if civilians were deliberately killed by a party or parties to the conflict, these killings would amount to war crimes, and there need to be independent, impartial, thorough and transparent investigations to establish accountability and ensure justice. We urge the authorities to build on the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission's preliminary findings into what happened in Maikadra. It's essential that there are investigations into allegations of human rights violations there against both Amharans and Tigrayans. While telephone lines are beginning to be restored, the communications blackout that began on the 4th of November and restrictions on access raise significant concerns that the human rights and humanitarian situation is even more dire than feared. These reported allegations are likely only to be the tip of the iceberg regarding the extent and seriousness of the violations committed by all parties to the conflict. This underscores the need, as the High Commissioner is stressing today in her press release, the need for independent human rights monitors to be given access to Tigray to adequately assess the human suffering resulting from the conflict, verify allegations, and to help ensure accountability.